You are looking live at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell 55 points today, or 0.31%, and closed at 17,573. You could see the volume was up 5% higher than this 50-day average volume, which is this red line down here that sometimes yeah. Anyway, so we've seen kind of like below average volume, but today it was 5% above. I mean, there's your red line, and you can see it's 5% above. So you can see it's been below here. And today we had the big Fed event where they lowered interest rates by 50 basis points. And there's some, wiggling around here. I guess I'll show it here on the 5-minute chart. This is Wednesday here. We started off higher, then went lower. Then after this is the 2 o'clock announcement of a 50 basis point cut. The market soared higher and then sold off into the close. Give it the old okey doke like it usually does. The first move is usually the wrong one, but that's not saying that it can't rally back tomorrow. Let's take a look at this on a 1-minute chart. There it is. There's Jerome Powell influencing the market, and then it just sold off into the close. Not a big deal, I don't think. It's good that they're in tune with the markets and the economy, the job market and the economy, and they're lowering rates, which were a little restrictive there. So that's all good. I think it'll be good longer term, but the Nasdaq, just wanted to point out, this is the 5th day in a row. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row where the low of the session is above this magenta line, the 21 EMA. So as long as it stays there, I'm a happy camper. And this week, the low on Monday was 17,480. The low on Tuesday was 544, and the low today was 556. So we have higher lows and made a higher high today, but that was real whipsaw type of action, which I just showed you. SPY, pretty similar action here, where I guess I'll show it here on the 5-minute chart. Spiked up and then sold off into the close, just like the Nasdaq. The Dow, same thing, spiked and closed lower, and then the IWM did close higher. So even though it spiked and then sold off, it still closed a little higher. Let me get my three. Okay, well, 3 points is 3 points, but anyway, it was a 0.01% higher. It's higher. Better than what the other indexes did, but no great shakes. I don't think it's a big deal that it spiked higher then sold off lower. I think as we go through the next few sessions, it's going to settle out. So anyway, I want to take a look at some stocks. Apple is having a real strong day today. Just rallied up to its 50 and then pulled back a little bit. So it's got to rally back through that level. That's what I'm looking for. With Apple and Microsoft, they had their big 60 billion buyback program and increased dividends. It rallied through the 50 and just pulled back just a little bit today. And then NVDA, these are the nearly $3 trillion market cap stocks. NVIDIA having a hard time there at the 50. So it's got to power through that 50 and power through the 120. Looks kind of weak. Let's take a look at this on the 5-minute chart. Yeah, same thing, spiked higher, then sold off into the close. Anyway, I'm going to look at stocks that I like, and that means we're going to start off with the biotech stocks. The biotech stocks are super strong. You would think that lower interest rates would help the smaller cap biotech stocks. So, and they did pretty well today. In fact, I could do a whole video just on biotech stocks, but I won't make you suffer through that. I'm just going to pick out a few, and this is one of my favorites, ADMA. I encourage, I implore, I request, I demand everybody go listen to their conference call. They did a conference call with Cantor Fitzgerald yesterday, and I listened to it last night. I posted it on Twitter today. These guys, the CEO's talking about, first of all, the barriers to entry for their business are like, he said 5 years. So they've got, they got a nice niche market, and they've got, sales and earnings growth. The CEO talked about 2 billion revenue by 2026. That's a pretty impressive, for a 4.5 billion market cap company. It's trading just a little over 2 times forward sales. A lot of them trade it, the ones that with, this type of growth, they trade it, 10 times sales. So I think this thing has a long runway, not just a, little trade here. You could see it gapped higher, ran up, then gapped higher, pull back to its 50 for the first time since this base, breaking out of its base, then gapped higher. That must have been the August 5th day, yeah. And then, just formed a little shelf there, pulled back to the 21, found support, just surfing the moving averages. ADMA, go listen to their, well, even prior conference calls, but their Cantor Fitzgerald conference yesterday was pretty solid. The interviewer did a good job, and the CEO talked about, she got him to talk about, forward guidance and sales, and so that was fantastic. Anyway, TGTX was in the news today. They're actually presenting a couple of data points today. The one came out early this morning about 30-minute infusions, which it was tolerable. The tolerable scale was off the charts. So this is like the best multiple sclerosis drug in town, and now the CEO talked about 30-minute infusions instead of these 4 to 6 hour infusions, and there's not a lot of gap crap, which after you get infused by 4 to 6 hours in the chair, you feel miserable. So Briumvi doesn't have that. And when you go to the doctor, would you rather sit there 4 to 6 hours or 30 minutes? I think it's malpractice if any doctor doesn't switch their patients over to Briumvi's TG Therapeutics Briumvi. It's ridiculously so much better than the competition, but it's going to take time. Doctors are reluctant to switch medicines on patients they've had for a long time. So I get that, but I think a lot of new patients are going to be captured by this company. It's kind of a disappointing. A lot of people were texting me like, it's like a muted move. Well, it's Fed day and it's been up a lot. The stock's a little bit extended here. So there you see the spike at the open. It went up to 26.41, just kind of sold off all day. The little spike with the Fed, and I don't know, what was it, up 10 cents or something? Yeah, 17 cents. But the point is, this is a longer term play, and they're going to need a few quarters to blow the shorts out. This is a heavily shorted stock. The CEO guided to 280 million. And this is a 4 billion, 3.9 billion market cap stock. So he's got to raise it to at least, what is that? I don't know, it's like 15 times sales. He's got to raise it to at least 500 million. Then you got something here. Then it could get 10 times sales and be up to a 5 billion market cap stock. That's shorter term. Longer term, I'm sure they're going to do billion a year also, and have a I don't know, 10 billion market cap. But it's got the VA contract, which is worth 180 million alone. It's getting a lot of switches, not a lot, but it's getting some conversions and a lot of new patients. That's where they're gaining most of their clients. So anyway, but plus they have licensing in Europe. So they've got some revenue streams here. I'd like to see this drug. This is a phase 3 announcement this morning. But I'd like to see this drug being able to use for other areas like Lilly and Novo have with their weight loss drugs. It's used for many, many other things. So, it's just got launched last year. So they're doing a good job. And like I said, this stock was, it's closed 5% above its 10 and 8% above its 21. So, you can't really expect it to get too stretched here. It's going to stay close to these green and magenta lines here. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect too much, until they report earnings. And if that data point changes, then they might, gap higher. Anyway, I've got another one that I really like that is on the ready list this week. This is a EXAS. You can see this is pushing away from its base here. The high on Monday was 69.75. So I kind of like it above that level. It did spike above it today. It went up to 70.82 and then pulled back. But this is making new highs. You can see this here if I zoom in. You can easily see these new high 65, 67, 68, 69, now 70, 82, and the higher lows. So EXAS is doing what you want it to do, but it's going to do it on its own time. You can't expect, 10% moves every day. It's doing fine. It's doing fantastic. CORT, gosh, I did some research on this, but I was volunteering today at the food bank. I wasn't really around much, so I just wrote some names down before I went, and when I got back, I just kind of logged on to do this video. But gosh, I forget what court. They had news earlier in the week. They've been spiking. Anyway, made a new high, broke out of this base here. This is why people, stay in tune to, if you have market surge, you got to go to stocks that are up on volume. And some stocks that are go up on volume is like the first day is, and then the next day, and then the next day you could see the up on volume. It's increasing volume here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. And so the first move, the first day is not the final move. Could be some short covering there, but that thing was up nearly 7% today as the indexes were down. So that's always a sign of strength. ASND, they had news also on Monday, phase 3 trial, and this one continues higher as well. So the biotechs, I mean, this is an 8 billion market cap. Biotechs are doing really, really well. TERN, this is I believe it's a $10 stock. Yeah, but this is a nice setup in the base here. I know it's straight up off the bottom, from 698 to 1021, but it did pull back here. What did this go up to? 1140, then pull back to its 21. So this thing's showing a lot of strength as well. And you can see the volume profile. It's really picking up here recently. That's TERN, less than $1 billion market cap. There's a lot of gems here that I'm trying to get to. Like I said, I could do a whole video on these biotechs. This is a 1.1 billion market cap. You can see, the IPO base here, and then now it's in its due diligence phase, but man, it's coming out of it nicely. If I look at the weekly here, that's going to look like a nice little IPO base. That looks fantastic. That's Cargo Therapeutics. The group is 29, not bad, out of 197. DNLI, Denali. This is another one that's just showing strength, right? You can see the big blue volume bars. I want to see what this looks like on the weekly. Yeah, these big blue volume bars, all these little skyscrapers showing institutions buying this stock, huh? Anyway, making new highs today. Denali looks fantastic. TYRA. This is Tyra Biosciences making new highs today. I know these are high risk because, they're not, they don't have a lot of sales or any sales, or I mean, they're losing money, right? You can see they're losing money, but these are highly speculative. But technically, I just go by strength, and these are showing strength. That's why I'm showing you these biotechs to start the video today. This is RNA is the ticker symbol, Avidity Biosciences. Just consolidating in a base here, but it did trade above its moving averages here with some power today. So that would be up on volume as well, I believe. I didn't have a chance to go through there, but that definitely looks like it's up on volume. So that qualifies. You got to watch out for that stuff. And if, it had an old high in here, what about $45? So maybe you take that line and say, hey, 45, I kind of like that. Broke above this, downtrending line here today. This thing looks fantastic. Might show up on our ready list, but it is, getting a little bit, what is it, 5.7% above the 10. So yeah, I'm watching it. How about that? Anyway, I'm going to move on. Sorry. I could have done, 20 more biotech stocks, but I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go to the power. The power group has been really strong. The data centers, the energy needed for the data centers is GE Vernova. It was up higher today, and this one got whipsawed around, I believe, by the Fed. Yeah, it was up higher. Wait a minute, that was yesterday. This is today. So it traded higher, pulled back a little bit, then it rallied, and then after the PAL announcement, it sold off. It did get up to 241 though, and closed there at 235. This is a really strong stock that you can see the big move that it's made. So you got to expect profit taking in that type of scenario. VST, I had this one on the ready list. last week. I think I have it this week too, I believe. There's a lot of buy points there. The original one that I had for the early entry was 82 area. It popped above that as it, traded above this downtrend line. I think that's last week. And now this week it's just been powering higher. So this looks fantastic. And all it is really is just consolidating in a base right now. There's 87, 89 is definitely an area of interest. 96 would be another what you'd call like a area of interest or perhaps some resistance, but it's just building the right side of the base and looks great. Obviously the standard is 107.24, and if it could get above that, that would be blue sky. So Vistra has got a ways to go. BRT is another data center play. Looks very similar to VST, where it broke above the downtrend line. This is last week. I think I had it on last week and took it off this week, but still a strong stock. The 8305, an area of interest 95. We'll just see how it moves. Once again, like VST, just building the right side of this base. You got to give it some time. What are some of the other ones? Oh, CEG Constellations of nuclear, broke above the downtrend line. Once again, these are all look pretty similar profile here as the after the big sell-off and the correction, they're starting to build the right side of their bases. So this one looks good. Power is another one. Quanta Services. This one's looking pretty good as well. And gosh, it was higher this morning when I left, right? Yeah, and it just sold off. Spiked with Jerome Powell's basis, 50 basis point reduction, and now sold off. So I wouldn't read too much into that. It's pretty typical. The first move is the wrong move. The knee jerk goes one way and then it reverses, it goes the other way, but it'll settle down. I think overall is a real good thing what they did today. STRL, Sterling, another strong stock, building the right side of the base. Holy cow. This is right back up to the old buy point there at 137. Jeez. I should have had this on my ready list. Gosh darn it. This thing really got away from me, and I watch it all the time too. 124.50 was definitely an area. Oh well, sometimes you screw up. Yeah, well, you can't kiss all the babies. And this one, if it's straight up from the bottom here, what do you 93 to 134. So if it does pull back a little bit in here and allow the moving averages to catch up, that might give you an opportunity there around maybe, I don't know, 130 or so. So that I'm watching for that for sure. If we get a pullback, couple of the other ones here, TLN Utility Power Company. Man, this thing's just been on fire. Another 3% move today. This group is a top 10 group, so utility electric power is definitely something to watch for. What other ones do I have? Oh yeah, Granite. I showed Granite yesterday. These construction stocks, yeah, a little bit of a pullback today, but that ascending base, that one looks good. ROAD looks fantastic. Broke out of a base. Moving higher. What was the other one that I had? KNF. This is a cement company. And man, this thing's powering higher. So construction looks good. All right, let's see here. I'm going to move on to the software names. I was hoping AppLovin would pull back, and it did. 48 cents. That might be all you get. No, seriously, since it moved from $60 to 124, whatever it was yesterday. I mean, that's a two-bagger, right? So you got to expect people to take some profits. Today it hit 125. So let's see this thing just kind of come in a little bit. I'm not expecting it to, come straight back to the 10, but if it just comes back below 120 for a little bit, allow the moving average to catch up and then take off and make new highs. I think that's what it's going to do. There's just too much demand. The movement of stocks is all about supply and demand. This thing's got momentum with this, the power through the pivot here. You see this last week, that really attracts, what do you call momentum traders? Yeah, so I don't think that move is over. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Often wrong, seldom in doubt. Never in doubt. How about that? Okay, let's move on. ZETA made a new high today, like AppLovin. Yeah, just a real strong stock, surfing its moving averages. That one looks good. Tyler Technologies, just setting up in a base. I like it above the 50. I don't like it below the 50, but you can see it's just consolidating within a base. And this thing has shown the ability to move quickly. So I'm definitely have this one on my watch list. Duolingo, DUOL, and Spotify are looking much better here. This one broke out of this double bottom pattern. So I made that double bottom and then shook some people out with this like bull wedge pattern. That's why shakeouts are handy. You don't give up on your stock just because it pulls back. So it pulled back to the 21 right here and then took off here the last, I don't know, 10 sessions or so. So Duolingo looks fantastic, above 250. That looks great. Spotify, um, just consolidating in the base. You can see how this one's really playing a possum and really frustrating a lot of traders. I sold this one. I'm not going back until it starts behaving better. But I mean, this is a long time to sit there around that 330, 340 level. Either make a move. June 5th. Yeah. So this is more than 3 months of doing nothing. So, people like me, swing traders, we get bored with stuff like that. They got to move, especially if you're playing options. Gotta move. Okay, that's it for the software names. I'm gonna go to some of the retail names. Yesterday I said I would sell some, a quarter or something, take some profits in Shark Ninja because I didn't want it to pull back to the 21. And what does it do today? It just makes a new high. That's all. That's what you want your stock to do. Really, there's no sell signs there. It's just moving money around, taking profits. So you see the spike here with Shark Ninja, and then it pulled back, but it was still up, 1.5%. And this is your leader in the, if you want to buy leaders, which I like to buy leaders, this is your leader in your household appliance area. Another leader is On Holdings, ONON. This is your shoe leader right now. If I take a look, you can see it made new high today, and they guided to 30% sales growth. I mean, Decker's looking better, but it's definitely not a leader. I mean, it's not making new highs. It's consolidating in a base. CROX looks a lot better, below 140. It was above 140 for a little bit today, but yeah, that 130 70, as long as it's above the 50, that 137.70, not a bad little area here. If you like that type of thing, the shoes, it's in the shoes, and this is a Skechers set up in this cup with handle, and then you can see this nice bull wedge pattern, how it trades down to its 21, then rallies. So it's still, near a buy point of $70 there. Skechers, one that I keep my eye on, but On Holdings is the leader of that group. VFC reported earnings and had, thought it had a better response in that shoot. It was up early and sold off like most things. Yeah, I was up to 1995. I don't know, still had a decent day though, huh? We'll take that. 4% move. Yeah, you can see the morning spike and then it kind of sold off. Then it spiked with Jerome Pell there, and yeah, still had a decent day though. I'm watching that one. $19. That's apparel clothing group. All right, I'm going to move on. Speaking of apparel and clothing, I'm still in retail here. This is Victoria's Secret. They got upgraded today. Had a nice response to the upgrade, rallied through its moving averages. So this one's looking much better. Oh, and then the last one, Carvana. When you have interest rates cuts, this is the type of stock that will benefit from that, lower lending rate. So this one made a new high today as well, then pulled back. Everything pulled back into the close. So I think that one's going higher. All right. Some of the security names that I haven't mentioned, I don't think this week, but are still kicking butt. This is a Clear Secure. YOU is the ticker. AXON is another one in this group that looks pretty darn good. And the other one is BYRN. Kind of a thinner stock, 300,000 shares traded daily at $16, but breaking out of a base here. And so you can't argue with these growth numbers. All right. Moving along to my favorite sector, oil and gas, Kodiak Gas Services. This one looks pretty good. Breaking above a downtrending line today and setting up near, the 29.75 standard buy point area. Kodiak looks pretty good. You can see it's just an IPO, broke out of the IPO base, really ran hard. Now it's consolidated since March. So just trying to keep an open mind here. CNX, because, oil, the Brent contract and the WTI West Texas is really low, near the $70 level. And it typically goes down this time of year because the demand, summer is a big demand time, and now as we head to fall and into winter, it's a little slower. So the gas prices come down. And let's see, this is CNX Resources, and this one made a new high today. This one looks very strong. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, look at that. Looks almost like an ascending base here with these three little pullbacks, but very strong stock. Okay, let's move on to LB. This is a new issue. IPO. Looks like they priced the IPO wrong. It just went straight up. The IPO, it was $17 and it ran up to what? 43. So that's a nice run. And now it's pulled back. It pulled back to what it already has a 50. Yeah, right here. It just started its 50. So it pulled back to its 50 sound support. It looks like it's just forming another base here. So it's definitely one in the oil and gas. I'm not watching a lot of them in oil and gas, but that is one. The cruise liners. Lower rates going to help the cruise liners. I don't know. Royal Caribbean setting up in a nice base here. That looks pretty good. CCL, we have RCL, Carnival, CCL setting up in a base also. And Norwegian Cruise Lines also setting up in a base. I'm watching this little double bottom pattern here on Norwegian. And another one of these booking companies, leisure, travel, MMYT, which is an Indian-based stock, and just, making new highs. This thing looks fantastic. Super strong stock. Look at how long this thing's been surfing like Kelly Slater. Anyway, it's a strong stock. All right, so I've got to get to the home builders because I think they're going to do well with lower rates. Yeah, I know it's sold off, with the news of the 50 basis point rate cut, but DHI is still looking strong there, holding up nicely. I believe, yeah, they spiked here at 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock East Coast time, and then sold off into the close. That's to be expected. That's fine. That one looks good. Pulte looks good as well. Pretty similar patterns here. And then Lennar reports tomorrow after the close. And that one, these all look pretty similar. How does KBH look? Haven't looked at that one for a while. Yeah, that one's got a little consolidation, a buy point there at 88. I'm definitely watching that one. And the other one that I want to see is NVR. Yeah, just okay, pull back a little bit. And then the GRBK is a little smaller company. And this one was up, and the rate cuts should help the home builders. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, except for I have one more thing. I'm really happy to see some of these old guard stocks like General Electric making new highs. I know it's an aerospace defense stock. I don't care. I mean, it's going higher. Just broke out of a base here. I think I had it on the ready list last week or the week before, but I got impatient with it, took it off this week, and so it makes new highs. That's the way it goes. Anyway, when GE and IBM, back in the day, if these two stocks were making new highs, the stock market was near new highs because these things ruled the stock market. Broke out of this base here. I was watching it here. I think I had it at 196, a standard buy point. Now it's at what, 215? That's a hell of a move for IBM. It looks fantastic. And General Motors, as General Motors goes, so goes the stock market. That was my dad's generation saying back in the 50s and 60s. And General Motors here, forming a nice base. And it looks pretty good. They make the Chevrolet Corvette. Who doesn't like a nice Corvette? Anyway, you can see that pattern there. So it's good for me to see those types of companies doing well. And I just wanted to point out today that after the the Fed, these things are selling off. This is the tobacco, which had been super strong, and now they're starting to sell off with these interest rate coming down. These things are coming down, so it's good to see that for me, I think, because these are super defensive. There it is on a daily chart. And then Mo, I mean, you might own them for dividends or whatever, but man, these things were really rallying hard. So they're defensive by nature. So to see them come back, You know, it's just a rotation. This is a Procter and Gamble. I bet you they sold off. Yeah, look at that. As soon as Powell spoke, lower rates and this went down. But anyway, I'll have some new stocks in the morning here on our ready list. I see some stocks setting up. I kind of like them. Tomorrow's Thursday, so look for some new merchandise. And anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching.